I would say half of the people in the copywriting space are not really ever going to make money with copywriting. Those are fans of copywriting. Those are not copywriters.
I've been writing copy since 2015. I'm from Sri Lanka. I have never once faced this objection of, oh, you're from Sri Lanka, you should get paid less. I can't remember a single time in over 10 years.
Everything you do, you should raise the standard. That's really what this is about. It's like every single part of the process, from reaching out to having a sales call to delivering the work, you will raise your standards when you realize what's at stake if you don't have higher standards.
99.9% of copywriters who don't have the money aren't willing to do the work that it actually takes to learn the copywriting for free. So people are not willing to spend the time. People are not willing to spend the money. People are not willing to get a job to save up money to invest in their own personal development. So what else can we tell you when it's the same questions that you've been asking today that you've been asking like a year ago?
Back in 2018, you could have the same skills from 2018 to 2021, and it wouldn't really hurt you so much. Then it was like 2021 to 2023, then 2023 till 2024. You see it's getting smaller and smaller. And then 2025, the skills have changed twice already. 2026, it's going to be like 3 cycles within 1 year of the skills you need. You can't keep up with that as a beginner. 3 cycles in 1 year.
I can tell you from the 5 minutes of listening to you right now, the audio quality is like really bad. You're logging in from your phone and your environment doesn't look conducive to something that is like a high price consultant. So all of these factors, I like to call it invisible persuasion, but all of these factors are playing into their perception of you.
It's a nice bonus if somebody's the right fit. If they're the right fit, then you're going to be able to, they get a client, you get to help a business owner makes more money.
So this is like open Q&A, you guys. You can put your camera on, put your mic on. This is only going to work if you guys actually engage.
So my question is that I'm reading like a lot of copybooks for I would say like for about 2 months. It's been 2 months. So I read about 13 copybooks. So like all the famous pieces like Breakthrough Advertising and Every Copywriting Handbook and Great Leads, like the popular copy pieces, the books. So I don't think so that my like skill is actually improving in copywriting just because of reading books. So I have a lot of spare time. I would say 6 hours every day that I can dedicate. So I just want to know like how can I actually improve my copy skills?
So I'd say the one thing that I would ask you is, how much do you write per day?
As for copy, like I come up with a new idea every day and I maybe 1 email per day.
Is it for business or is it just for yourself for practice?
So what I do is I come up with an idea and outline the copy piece, the structure of it, and I just start writing whatever comes into my mind.
Do you have a business that you would like to work for one day?
Not at the moment.
Okay, so choose a business that you'd like to work for, or choose a business with a lot of copy, and then start writing emails or ads or write copy as if you were working for the business. Because if you just write copy without context, you're not really going to practice the skill of copywriting. I would say do actual practice for a business as if you were working for them. Even if you don't get the clients, it doesn't matter. It's about building the portfolio, but that's more important than reading. I haven't finished reading Great Leads and I'm 8 years in and I still haven't finished the book. Like, it's not like I haven't finished the book. There's actually many copywriting books I have never completed. In fact, I just write a lot of copy and I have a lot of copywriters I've worked with that have read the books and they implemented it and learned from them. And my team recently met the author of Great Leads in person in Tokyo. We actually met Mark Ford and Michael Masterson, right? It's like you meet the people. It's probably more important than reading 10 books. Obviously books are useful, but you need to be practicing the actual work of being a copywriter instead of studying copywriting. It's if you were to go swimming and if this was a swimming training, a Q&A on how to swim, and you came to me and you said, hey, so, I've been reading books on how to swim every day and I'm struggling and I've got 6 hours a day and I want to get better at swimming. What should I do? What do you think I would suggest you do?
Jump in the water.
Just write some stuff for some real businesses. And then you get to improve your portfolio too, because now you actually can add that to your portfolio and say, hey, here's copy I wrote for this business. Now they didn't use it and they didn't hire me, but this is a sample of what my writing looks like. And then you also have copy that you can get reviewed by somebody because now you have some real copy for a real business. So you get a lot of things like by doing that.
Yeah. You mentioned getting all the practice in and stuff like that. One thing that came to my mind while you were giving your answer is that copy is like already a solved problem, right? It's not like this new science that has been invented. It's as old as 2, 3, 4, sometimes even 400 years old, advertising and things like that. So the principles have already been discovered. And right now, if you're doing it, you don't have to start from scratch, basically. There are, especially for beginners, formulas, templates, systems already they can use that have been codified by other copywriters. Like you have, for example, copy systems already where, you've spent years while you're doing client work, codifying all of these systems to make it easier for you to do your own work. And then now you've got all of those systems documented. And then all you've done is you put them in like a community and anyone can have access to them as long as they're members. So maybe you can speak to that.
What about it specifically? Like the fact that we have the systems, or that's a part of the process?
Yeah, with the fact is, whenever you pick up a new skill, right? Most people, what they do is they start off copying somebody that they like, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually they start copying a bunch of different people. And then eventually they figure out their own system, which is like an amalgamation of all of those different influences. So like for the beginners, especially, like they could pretty much, if they wanted to, start copying you, right? Because you've already done all the work for them.
Makes sense. Yeah. And I agree with that. I think that the thing that a lot of people don't focus on, and it doesn't really matter what part of your career you're in, is time. Because recently at the mastermind I was at, the Iman Gaji Quantum Mastermind, they were talking about one of the biggest mistakes that people make when making money with organic marketing. So the interesting thing, Nabil, is that when you run paid ads within a week or a month of running an ad and the cost per lead is too high, you cut the ad from the ad set and you come up with a new ad, new format, new structure. Because you're spending money, when it stops working, you instantly make the shift. What happens in the content marketing world and organic marketing world is because you're not paying with money, you're paying with time. People don't cut losers fast enough. They just keep doing the same format for 3, 6, 12 months because everybody tells them it's a game of consistency or whatever. So people don't treat organic the same way as paid simply because the cost doesn't come from your wallet. It comes from time, which is very interesting because it's like the more mature a business is, the more mature they realize that time is really the most valuable asset. Like even in a business context, it's the time to market. That's how you win in business. If you can build something faster and you can build it better and you can build it before everybody else, you're the industry leader. So it's the same with organic. If you can produce assets and formats that are relevant to the entire audience and they grow, but people don't cut their losers fast enough with organic because time is not their number one, what's the word? Like time is not their priority. Like they don't value it as the $12 or $15 a day that they're spending on the ad set. And like even like early entry level marketers making 3 to 5K a month. It's like, you look at your income. How many times have you cut your losses when it comes to costing you time? How many people sit with a bad client for 6 months because they don't want to lose the money, but they don't mind losing all of that time, the 6 months of the time that they lost? Now, when I started as a copywriter, as a marketer, I worked with a big info business coach for about 12 months. In those 12 months, I learned more than many mentees I've been coaching who have been in the industry for 5 years by working in that business. And when you run the numbers on 4 years, the compounding effect of 4 years, that's like the equivalent of a couple $1 million potentially of income. If you take the right action, you build the right business, it's like millions of dollars of potential income that you've lost. So when I look at business now, I look at the time investment as the opportunity cost more than the money, because it's so much more expensive to not have your time invested in the right place. And I think a lot of you here, maybe I'd be curious what you guys put in the chat for like how long you've been in the industry for. When you look at the amount of time that you've been in this industry, like where could you have been? It's a painful question. It's like, where could you have been had you cut the losses faster when things weren't working for you and reallocated your time? As a beginner, maybe you've been stuck for 6 to 12 months. How much of that time, 6 months? Let's create a real application of this real quick. It's if I were to say, a perfect example, this week I was at the mastermind. I wrote some emails to my email list to sell my product, right? I didn't feel like writing the email. It was like 2 a.m. I was tired. I just spent the whole evening talking to all these successful people. I was like ready for the next day. I had to wake up at 9. I was like, I need to get 6 hours of sleep. So I'm lying in bed and obviously I'm thinking to myself now, okay, so if I don't send this, it's probably going to make me about $300 for the business. So if I don't write this email today and I go to sleep, that means I paid $300 for an extra hour of sleep, because you can make that choice all the time. But that is the choice that you're making when you don't do something. It's like, I could say, yeah, that hour of sleep's important to me, so I'm going to sleep. But I was like thinking to myself, would I pay $300 for an hour extra of sleep tonight? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay $300 for an hour of sleep. So if I don't write that email, I'm probably going to be paying $300. So I was like, all right, I'm going to write the email. So I wrote the email and we made $300. And actually, it was more than that because it's a recurring. So it's probably going to be close to $1,000. So that one extra hour of sleep was cost me $1,000 if I didn't just push myself a little bit more. So I want you to see that the costs actually don't have anything to do with the money that you spend. A lot of people look at money that they spend as the costs of being a beginner, or if you're not a beginner anymore, maybe you're watching the recording, you're already making $2,000, $3,000 a month. You got to see costs from a different place than just the financial transaction. And this isn't even about courses or joining programs and stuff. This is just about investing in yourself. Like a small example could be getting a professional photo done, or $100. You've hired a photographer. Yeah, you transacted, you took $100 out of your bank account, but that professional photo maybe closes you 2 clients for $500 a month. That's $12,000 that you've made this year that you would not have made without that $100 investment. So I want you guys to start thinking, especially beginners and like newer guys, you need to start thinking about the opportunity cost as a real cost, not just as a hypothetical maybe. Because when you start seeing opportunity cost as a real cost, you suddenly don't need all these productivity tools and this motivational stuff. Like, I don't need motivation to write an email at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night if I know that I'm paying $300 to $1,000 for an extra hour of sleep. Like, you don't need motivation. Would you pay $1,000 to sleep for 1 hour? No. Okay. No, that's a very expensive hour of sleep. So now look at courses. Now we could talk about courses for a minute. Nabil's put together many trainings he's invested a lot of time. I've invested 5-6 years of my life instead of selling products. I haven't been selling products. I've been investing in coaching people privately and writing copy. I've invested 6 years, 10,000 hours of time into the skill. So it's like, you can go and figure it out, or you can use the materials that, on my YouTube channel, in the Copy Launchpad, or if you want the accelerated path, the fastest path, you're also welcome to join us in Copy Systems. I know that Nabil's put a link in the chat there. There's obviously the fastest path since that's paid. So I've invested the most time there because I get paid for it. But that's what I'm saying. You want to start thinking about that kind of thing. Don't think about the transactions so much. Start thinking about the opportunity cost and you're paying with that. So every year that I don't make the kind of income that I know my business is worthy of making, I'm actually paying that money. But for example, if you're 3 years away from making $1 million a year, if you focus, let's just say, right? I'm not saying you're going to make that, but let's say that if you were building a agency that helps marketing businesses, a marketing agency that helps software businesses, and 3 years from now, if you were taking action every single day, you would have a business with 10 clients at $10,000 a month. You'd have a $100,000 business. If you don't take that action, 3 years from now, if you're still at, let's say, 5K a month, 3 years from now, you're paying $95,000 a month to be at 5K. That's what that actually looks like in reality. You're actually paying $1 million a year to not make $1 million a year. Like, what a weird concept. Like, you're paying $1 million to not make $1 million. Motivation is now hopefully sold for you guys. If you internalize this concept, you write it down, look at the opportunity cost and consider the price you're paying. And this actually really nicely ties into personal life as well. Life's not all about money. Sleeping is important. And what about family? And what about your other priorities? I think this actually amplifies the other priorities, because then if you're spending 3 hours in the evening with your wife, it's worth more to be with her. So it actually shows you that's a real priority in your life. It's like, I would rather spend X amount of time with my family instead of growing my business. That places more value in my eyes on the fact that there's a family engagement. So it's like, whenever you start to think about it, it's not all about money. It's not. So if you're spending time with people, it's not for money, and you're spending time with friends and spending time with family, it's because that really matters to you. And that you can't put a price on that. That's more valuable than the business opportunity. It suddenly puts everything into perspective. I think you should be very aggressive about how fast you can be in the right places. Just for context, this mastermind I went to, I spent $28,000 to be there. There's obviously other aspects and perks and stuff. It wasn't just that, but $28,000 to be around those people for those 3 days was the majority of what the investment was for. You might say $28,000 for 3 days is a lot of money. However, I got about 14 people that want a copywriter right now, and they're all willing to pay over $3,000 a month. So if we were to say we take all those deals, 15 times 3, that's $45,000 a month of recurring revenue. So how much is $28,000 worth now? It's half of the month. It's 1/24th. It's 5% of the potential that was created from being there. Obviously, I'm not going to take all those deals myself. I'm going to be referring them to all my private clients. And if we don't find anybody within our private network for a few of those deals, which I've already found, we're going to be posting it in the Copy Systems in my other paid community. So I just want you guys to think about it. Does it make sense? Can you guys let me know in the chat? I can see a couple of you have your cameras on and you're listening, but I want to make sure that this point really goes home, because at the early stage of your career, it's really just more about action than it is about reading books, for example. So if you feel that urgency and you feel the opportunity cost of not taking action and the opportunity cost of holding on to, let's say, I don't know, your $100, I think you're going to find yourself in a difficult spot. And that's really it. So let me know if that made sense. And if anybody has follow-up questions or anything about that, but accelerate your career, save yourself time.
Recently, for the past few days, I am outreaching to people. I am outreaching to the friend, all the Facebook librarian. I send them free sample and I am getting replies as well. And they are liking my stuff as well. But when we hop on a sales fair, they literally expect me to work for peanuts. If I quote them 1.5 suppose per project for a BSN ad or for an email per month, they expect me to work for $300, $400, $40. Oh, you live in India? We would like to pay you this much. So my question is that, what's the difference between a rich lead and a broke lead?
Can I just, before you answer, Matthew, how many people have you reached out to, let's say in the past month or so? And then how many people have replied? And then how many people are giving you this objection or...
For the past week, I am sending over 30 emails or messages a day. And I am getting replies I am getting 3 replies a day. And one out of all the 3 replies that I'm getting, they are saying they like your work, then we hop on a sales file. So basically it's 4 to 5 people, they say we would like to work with you, and then they say if mostly around 2 to 3 people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying you're sending 30 DMs per day, you're getting 3-ish replies per day, and then one of them is a positive reply, and then you've gotten on maybe 4 to 5 calls, and then out of those 4 to 5 calls, only 1 or 2 people are giving you this objection of, okay, you live in India and you should be working for 300. I'll let Matthew answer, but my initial observation is, number one, that's not enough volume. So you only heard it from 1 or 2 people. If you heard it from 100 people, then you can say that it's an issue right now. Okay, that's number one. And number two is, what sort of leads are you going after? Are you actually picking the right people to go after? And number three is, if you're getting on a sales call and this objection is coming up, you can make an offer that doesn't actually need a sales call to close. And number two is, there must be something that you're doing on a sales call that creates the perception that you are not worth the price that you are charging. I can tell you from the 5 minutes of listening to you right now, the audio quality is like really bad. You're logging in from your phone, okay? And your environment doesn't look conducive to something that is like a high price consultant. So all of these factors, I like to call it invisible persuasion, but all of these factors are playing into their perception of you. If you can't change the environment that you're taking a sales call in, either you have to sell something that allows you to close without getting on a sales call, in which case you need an offer that converts on cold traffic and that you can sell via DMs or via Google Doc, or you need to change the environment in which you're taking your sales calls. So I'll pass it over now to Matthew to add his thoughts.
No, that's pretty accurate. That's exactly where I'm coming from when it comes to this stuff. I think the biggest thing is you have to know what the problem is that they're actively looking to solve. And that needs to be a big part of the message that you send them. And you need to carry yourself in a way that reflects that. For example, if you're approaching a personal brand and they're clearly spending a lot of time on YouTube, you might not necessarily want to be offering them, let's say, copy for email, because you can see that their priority is more YouTube based. Personal brands on camera. They have a good background. I'm on my webcam right now, so you can see my specific place. I don't have a fancy microphone, but look at the background behind me. I would say it's pretty clean. I would say I'm pretty well presented right now. I have good lighting. If I were on a call right now with a business owner for a sales call, I would get my professional mic. I'd have my professional camera, and I'd probably have some lighting behind me as well to better illuminate my face and just present myself a bit better. So it's all the micro parts of the process that make the difference. And this is why, again, I say, we are just talking about this a minute ago, the opportunity cost. So the opportunity cost of the 20 minutes that it takes to prepare for the sales call, that 20 minutes might cost you $12,000 if the client's $1,000 a month. So it's like a very expensive 20 minutes. You're like, but sure, it might not close and maybe it wasn't going to be a fit, but it's like, that's a very expensive moment. And the same thing with the outreach. When you send that message, it's very easy to just send a low effort sort of message because you want to get it done. But that potential business that you sent that message to, if you spent 30 extra minutes on the application or 30 extra minutes on the pitch or 30 extra minutes presenting that email to them to get their attention, that could also be a $12,000 mistake, like in terms of opportunity cost. And hopefully this doesn't put anybody in paralysis analysis about perfecting the process. You obviously have to put the reps in. Everything you do, you should raise the standard. That's really what this is about. It's like every single part of the process, from reaching out to having a sales call to delivering the work. When you hold yourself to a higher standard, you will raise your standards when you realize what's at stake if you don't have higher standards. And so that's the only real thing I could add to this is it's just like all of this stuff is just about holding yourself to a higher standard of performance and just not accepting anything less than that. And I think the thing that's very interesting to me about freelancers is that many freelancers will get on phone calls and they will see, for example, that the people that they look up to, let's say, for example, have photos of themselves on social media. They have made an effort with their social presence, but then they don't see that's something that they should apply to their own life. You see the action that they take, and then not saying you do this, but some marketers and freelancers, they don't like join the dots. It's, oh, this guy does this and he has this and that's what he does.
Another thing that I realized is like, I've been writing copy or being a freelancer since 2015, first part-time and then full-time. I'm from Sri Lanka. I have never once faced this objection of, oh, you're from Sri Lanka, you should get paid less. I can't remember a single time in over 10 years. So it also has to do with how you are showing up. You might be putting this mental obstacle on yourself, and it's not really a real issue. I never expect that to happen to me, and it has actually never happened to me. So there's a whole bunch of different things that is potentially going on here where either you haven't talked to enough people or you're doing something wrong on the call, or it's not an actual issue that you have to be dealing with and you are just putting a mental roadblock on yourself. Having said that, I totally understand where some people are in terms of the location where they're at. They might not have access to the things that we're saying. They might not have access to like proper, nice, cool looking environment, or they might not have access to a good mic. But even these things, they're actually much more affordable now than before. I know there are a ton of popular Indian YouTubers that have like professional setups and things like that. But let's say, for example, you don't have access to these things. Then your option is to learn how to make offers that don't need a sales call. And that's just a matter of getting better as a copywriter. That is just an increase in your skill as a copywriter. How can you make offers that are an absolute no-brainer sell that would convert on cold traffic and then don't actually need a salesperson or a sales call for them to close and buy from you? All right. So I hope that helps with your question.
So my question for you guys is like, how do you structure your day every, like, how does it look? Because I know we have to do outreach, we need to write copy, we need to take on sales calls, we need to spend time with our loved ones. So like, how do you guys structure it? Like in terms of creative energy. So like, how do you structure it in a way that it seems efficient throughout the day? Like you feel that, okay, now the output that I'm doing is giving me ROI positive results. So like, how do you do it?
For me, I just do a lot.
Okay.
And as you do it, you start to find out what your rhythms are. That's a big way that I would recommend you just take action. What does my calendar look like? It's going to be very different. My calendar's empty. There's only 2 days a week that have calls, Tuesday and Thursday. And then obviously the exception here and there. And like today's call is the only call. I look at my calendar today, I have this call and I have a 30-minute call later today, and that's it. The rest of the calendar is empty. But I was writing emails until 1 a.m. last night. So it's like, when should you be doing that? I usually go to bed at around 10:30, 11 when I'm in a good flow. And I wake up at about 7:30, 8. So I usually sleep about 8 hours. I think you just have to have some non-negotiables. I wouldn't really say it's about structuring your day. I think it's like arbitrary. You should do this at this time. You should do that at that time. I think that there's obviously certain systems that maybe Nabil also has some thoughts on this, because not everybody's, it depends on your personality too, right? I'm a very intense creative. I'm not a very operations focused person. I'm not a very detail focused guy. I'm not a big routine person. So how do I stick to stuff? Like gym, I'm not going to be consistent with my gym routine unless I've got my personal trainer. So I just schedule it out. I'm like, cool, my personal trainer is going to see me at this time for the week, and I'm just going to go and do my training. So that solves my gym. Other people, they need the exact same day every day and they like it. I think maybe that'd be the case for you. You like having a routine that's like very consistent. Creative work, writing copy, you might say, I'm going to take an hour to write these emails, and it takes you 3 hours, because sometimes copy is like that. It's not going to fit nicely into a box, whereas a sales call might more reasonably fit into a time period. So my suggestion has always just been like, wake up. As long as you know what the most important thing is you need to get done that day, wake up and as soon as you can start working on the biggest priority, and then just work on the rest. And over 3 months, you'll have data. If you just keep a time journal, just track what you get up to. After 3 months, you'll start to see. I know that for me personally, I write more in the evenings. I just tend to be a better writer in the evening, and I don't tend to enjoy writing early in the morning. I also know that I enjoy taking phone calls more in the early afternoon. I don't like taking phone calls early in the morning. So like, you need to just eventually develop what your sense is of what's your flow. And I think that's always just goes back to taking more action. That's how I worked out for me. Everybody's different though.
Gotcha.
Nabil, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people who are on this call right now, that question is like out of sequence. You don't have enough work for you to have a schedule, right? Your only job literally right now is getting clients. If your only job is getting clients, that's all you should be doing for 12 plus hours a day. There's no situation of, oh, how do I balance my work day? How do I manage my creativity? All of that is irrelevant until you actually have clients and you're working. You have a significant amount of clients where you need to compartmentalize the tasks that you get done during the day. So for me, I don't actually have a schedule. The only thing that I do on a regular basis is go to the gym in the morning when I have to train. And after that, it's just like whatever comes up, like I'll do the work. So I'm probably the worst person to ask about a schedule or something like that, because I'm just generally unproductive as a person. And I'm not like an organized person when it comes to doing my work. I know there are people that have, they have set specific times set on their calendar that they're going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm not like that at all. Maybe if I was like that, I'd probably get more done, but that is the case. You mentioned, Matthew, taking time to figure things out. It's been my experience, especially now, where clients are not going to wait around for you to figure things out. They like, especially the clients that you want to work with and will pay a fair wage for the type of work that you're doing. They're not going to wait for you to figure things out. Like, you need to, when you show up, you need to have your shit together and you need to know how to deliver the outcome that you're promising. And they're not going to wait for you to learn on your dime. And if they are, it's probably because they are not as sophisticated in their entrepreneurship journey themselves. And if they are more accepting of that type of junior copywriter, then they're not going to pay that much. So if you want to actually get access to the good jobs that are out there and the good clients that are out there, then you actually don't have a lot of time to waste. You absolutely have no time. I remember putting out this course. I sent out this email and say, how much of this course have you completed so far? Got this. It was a free course, right? I got this reply back and they said, oh, I'm just taking my time with it. the thing is, you have no time. There is absolutely no time to waste. You are being right now overtaken by the copywriters who are using AI and who actually know the business. And for every day that goes by, there are like a dozen or 2 dozen or even 100 more copywriters being introduced to the idea of copywriting, and they decide, oh, now's my chance to get started. And you are still in the same place that you were a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Meanwhile, the actual copywriters that are getting work and getting clients, they've already figured out all of this AI shit. They've already subscribed to Matthew Bolquin's copy system so that they can become 10 or 100 times more productive. And they're the ones that you're actually competing with. And they are taking all of your clients because they understand the level of urgency that they're at, because things are moving really fast. The type of deadlines that you were able to get away with, like even 6 months ago or a year ago, those don't exist anymore. The clients want like a cold traffic funnel in 3 days now. Before, like, it's 8 weeks for a long form sales page. That was what you were scheduling out like 2 or 3 years ago. Now with the AI, the clients already, well, it's time. You got to deliver it in 3 days, a maximum 5 business days.
I think that that's spot on. I think the reality is, as you may have seen, that the world is moving so quickly now that it's almost impossible to keep up with stuff. So what do you got as an option? You have calls like this is going to give you the latest, your podcasts, even courses. Many times courses might not be up to date unless you're a lean business. I like to try to keep my stuff very up to date, but I know some big coaches, they will have a course that they'll build in 2022 and they're still selling the same course. It's not relevant anymore. You know, what happens is you get all these guys. This is what happens, okay? You get a coach that releases a course on how to make money with copywriting, and he gets, let's say, 100 buyers a month, which is actually pretty standard for some of these big guys. So you get 100 buyers a month. It is like $3,000 course or whatever. They join, they don't find it's up to date. And then they go and join other copy coaches. Like they'll work with Nabil, they work with me, or they work with a few other people in our industry that coach. And they're used to spending money. They spend $3,000 to get started as a copywriter. They'll just buy a few other people's programs and they figure it out. So a lot of the guys that you see on these testimonials on the internet, copywriters who made a lot of money, 99% of the people who made like $10,000 or more as a copywriter, they bought their way into the industry because you can't afford to just figure it out yourself. There's like over 100 years worth of copywriting knowledge that's being applied to a modern marketplace. It's like, you're not going to forget trying to go and learn all that stuff and read all the books. Reading the book itself is like going to take forever. So what they do is they just do that. They just buy their way into the right communities. And that's just the nature of business, is you could have just get in front of the right people, get the right information so that you can win. And this is why my private clients have always won. I've always said this is like, it's not because they're smarter or because we have some sort of secret. It's more because my clients have the confidence that they can close any client that they need and they can deliver very quickly because they have a very supportive network around them, or they have all the systems that they need to deliver the workflow. And so I'd highly encourage that. Like, obviously there are a lot of coaches out there. I believe that we have the best products in the entire industry. Like the amount of time that we've spent developing our products instead of selling, instead of marketing, we've just spent the last 6 years building out literally every single system on copywriting that's active right now. And the biggest projects that are coming in 2026, I think I've spoke to you about this already, Nabil, like on our previous interview. Top client getting projects for all of you. If you want to know where to spend your time, creative strategy. Creative strategy is where everybody's hiring. At the event I was at, there was an agency owner from France, and he was telling me, Matt, if you give me a copywriter that can do creative strategy that speaks French, he'll have a job by tomorrow. That's how many I need right now. I need 12. I need 12 creative strategists in France, because he coaches agencies in France and he coaches over 100 agencies and they all need copywriters. Guess what? Iman Gaji's team, they were asking me, can you give us a copywriter? Because we don't have enough copywriters. Here's the crazy part. They put up a job description on their Instagram. They got 3,000 copywriting applicants and they still couldn't find somebody because nobody actually has the skills these days to deliver. There's not enough good writers. So I just said to them, you know what? Talk to me. I'll find copywriters for you. But at the same time, I'm training as many copywriters as I can in my communities, like on creative strategy, for example, and a video copy. So if you want to know where to spend your time in 2026, I would encourage you to learn creative strategy. And what I'm doing to help you guys with that is, obviously, we're spending a lot of time building out that training inside copy systems right now. Like in December, we spent the whole of December, every single week, we've got a call on creative strategy. We've got one copywriter that makes $25,000 a month from creative strategy. He's coming live and he's walking every single person through the process of how he writes creative strategy. We had a class last week from another multi-six-figure copywriter who broke down the exact process for how to deliver creative strategy. We have 2 more calls on creative strategy in December. We have some training I'm going to put together in January. So I'm doing everything I can now because I'm focusing on my coaching business and not freelancing. That's literally all I do every day is think, how can we put together all the material that you guys need to actually get the skill and make it accessible and affordable so that you can learn really quickly. And so that's what we're doing in copy systems. You got to be in the right circles. You got to know what the top gigs are right now, where people are making the money. And then you got to go and be in that circle and you got to pay to get in there. And I can tell you that because I just spent $28,000 literally doing that exact thing. So I wouldn't be saying it unless I'm willing to do it myself.
Yeah, it's been my experience as well. Your results will be accelerated, that's for sure, but that's not the only way. You said that Imran Ghazi team put up a post and got 3,000 applicants and they still weren't able to find copywriters. You know why that is? It's because 99.9% of copywriters who don't have the money aren't willing to do the work that it actually takes to learn the copywriting for free. What you have to do is sign up for all of the financial newsletters. Look at websites that have native ads and then click through and look at where all of those ads lead you to. Watch all of those VSLs, read all of those sales letters, try to analyze them and write them out by once you sign up for all of the email lists with your burner account for each niche of newsletter, read all of the newsletters that come in every week. You got to read the editorial, you got to read the lift notes, you got to read the space ads. You got to build your own swipe file and model all of those different ads, the editorials, the space ads, the lift notes, the solo ads, the VSL scripts. You got to record those and transcribe those, and you got to analyze those as well. You can absolutely learn how to write advanced copy for free, but 99% of people who call themselves copywriters are not willing to do that, which is why you have a situation where an 8-figure company puts out a post asking for a copywriter. They get 3,000 applicants and they can't find a single one.
Yep, basically that. So that's your opportunity. Is you got all those guys, they're not willing to put in the work. Many of them aren't willing to invest in themselves either. So you choose your path. You're going to either invest all that time, or you're going to invest in accelerating yourself by being in the right communities and the right paid training. I would just do both, honestly. Join the right communities, get the clarity on, like right now, like you just heard that creative strategy is where to go. Okay, now you know where creative strategy goes. You join something like Copy Systems where we're covering creative strategy. You learn everything you need to know about creative strategy. Now, when you go and opt into all those email lists and all those ad accounts and you look at all those ads, you now know what you're looking at. So you're going to spend the same amount of time, but now you're looking at stuff with the right perspective and you know what you're looking at. So just do both. And yeah, if you've been sitting here and you've been learning for the last hour, I hope it's been useful for you. But if you've been sitting here for an hour, I take it that this is important to you, right? I would hate for you to spend 100 hours going around in circles and then 6 months from now, you kind of have the same questions and you're in the same situation. Whereas if you go and invest the time, you know what I did personally? I just went and got some income so I could afford it. Honestly, it depends where you live. But if you live in a country where you can make a decent amount of money with what you were already previously doing, just put in a few extra hours to make the money. A lot of people do that. I just worked extra. Like I had a minimum wage job. I just put in an extra 2 shifts a week for a few months to earn the money to do what I needed to do. And then I closed my first high ticket client back then and I quit my job kind of thing. So it's like, just do it.
We had a post in Copywriting Launchpad as well on a similar kind of topic. Let me see if I can find it. But so this guy was like, is it still possible to make money with copywriting? I really need to make money fast. So after all of that, my comment to him was, you just need to find a job. Because that's the solution to his problem, is to find a job so he can get money coming in. But then he had some other excuse, like I'm a student or something like that, as if students don't work part-time. So a lot of these people, a lot of these copywriters are just full of excuses. They think that becoming a copywriter is their way to make money without actually working. But then they join and realize, oh shit, you have to actually work. It's a job. How do you, if you wanted to go learn university, are there free Facebook groups for like university education? There aren't. You have to pay the university. Either your mom pays or your dad pays, or you work a job until you save up enough money to pay. There's only one way to do it. The other thing you can do is you can audit university courses for free. But how many people do that? Like you can go learn at Stanford for free. You can go learn at MIT for free. You can go learn at Cornell for free. Computer science degree, astrophysics, chemical engineering, whatever you want to learn, you can learn it. The university have put all of their courses up. So how many people have actually gone to those universities and become advanced in physics? Most people are not willing to do that. They're not willing to sit through it. So people are not willing to spend the time. People are not willing to spend the money. People are not willing to get a job, to save up money, to invest in their own personal development. So what else can we tell you when it's the same questions that you've been asking today that you've been asking like a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago? A lot of the questions that have been asked, I've been hearing them since 2015. So there's only so many times you can answer the same question until you realize, okay, there's no helping some people. And it's like they're just spinning their wheels.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you've already made a decision, every single one of you, and maybe those listening to the recording, you've made a decision at some point what action you're willing to take for this, and deep down, like what it is. And once you know what it is, I think then you got the clarity. If you know that you're going to work hard and you're going to invest a lot of time, and you're going to obviously invest money to save yourself time, and then you're going to do it, then cool, then you're on the right track. But there are some people that I know their faces. They have been showing up to calls like this one for 4 years and have the same questions 4 years in a row. Those are fans of copywriting. Those are not copywriters. It's an interesting industry where there's I would say half of the people in the copywriting space are not really ever going to make money with copywriting. They're just like, it's sports. You watch other people play the sport and you cheer for them. And that's okay. Like, I just think people would save themselves a lot of pain and disappointment if they just be honest with which one. There's a copywriter that I used to coach, and I think he makes about $8,000 a month now. But I used to coach him and we both just sat in the call and I was like, bro, can I just be very direct with you? I've been reviewing your copy every week for almost a year. And you're still struggling to do the very same things I told you on the first call. You're not internalizing this stuff. I'm getting the impression it's not about the fact that you can't. I get the impression you don't really like this industry. Like you don't actually like writing. Like it's just not, you don't enjoy it. Am I wrong? Is there something here? Yeah, you know what? I just don't really enjoy writing. I'm just really doing this for a means to an end. I was like, okay, you don't want to spend the rest of your life doing that. Do you have another interest in this industry? Yeah, I like client success. I like operations. I like managing stuff. Okay, why don't you go and apply to work for a business as a client success person? Guess what? He's a client success director today. Doesn't do copy anymore. He makes $8,000 a month and he's much happier. Running an entire team underneath him. He's got the lifestyle he wants. So it goes back to the opportunity cost. If you're a fan of copywriting, treat this like a hobby. Join one call a week or whatever to enjoy it as a fan, but then go and invest all that other time back into improving your life. If on the other hand, you're like, no, I'm serious about this. I want this to be my career. This is the best career option for me. I feel is most aligned with what I want for my life. There's nothing else I want to do more than this for my career. Put your money where your mouth is. Put your time where your mouth is. Go, put it, do it. Or it's not going to exist the way it does today, 2 years from now. I'm telling you right now. Like a year ago, I was busy saying copywriting is going to be very different in 2025 because everybody's going to ask for full stack. Like the time where you could just sit and write an email a day or whatever on a Google Doc doesn't exist anymore. And I told all these copywriters back then, you guys have it nice. You guys have it easy. You're hanging out in Thailand. You're living this great life. You're making $6,000 a month from Thailand. It's ending soon. Take some of that money, take some of the time that you have and go and learn the skills like how to write a sales letter or how to write ads or how to write video copy and go and learn those skills so that you don't become irrelevant. And some of them listened and they're still in the industry and they're making more than ever before today. And some of them didn't like that. And one of them, unfortunately, reached out to me the other day and said, hey, man, it's been a dry spell this year. It's been a really hard year. I'm not even joking. It's really been a really difficult year, man. I don't know what happened. I've been doing all this work. I've been trying so hard to close clients and no clients haven't been closing clients. Because you didn't keep up with what the industry's up to because you didn't want to adjust. I didn't say that. I feel for the guy. I feel for people. But like you got to take accountability for your life. He was in a position to change his life. He's making close to $120,000 a year. But he didn't put himself in the right circles and he didn't focus on the right skills and he didn't work with the right businesses and he just enjoyed his like chill. And now a couple $1,000s is a bit of a stretch for him. That's what happens when you, so this industry is scary. And I actually do want to tell people this is hard. Like in an employment, the business covers all of you. They pay for your corporate email. They pay for your office desk. They rent that office space. They pay for that. They might pay for your equipment that you have to take to work. They might even pay for a few other things. It may even pay you when you're on vacation or when you're sick, right? They cover all these expenses. In entrepreneurship, you covering all those expenses. It's all on you to cover that stuff. So it's not like that stuff isn't being paid for in a job. It's just that the company takes care of it for you. Now you're taking complete ownership of your life as an entrepreneur. You cover all the expenses and you cover all the risk, but then you also get all the upside. So you either embrace it quickly or don't do it. I don't think it's worth being hot. I think being lukewarm is the worst place to be with this kind of thing. Entrepreneurship doesn't wait for people. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to go into urgency like with you guys and say you got to get moving, but it seems to be the place I always end up going back to when I start talking to people. You guys don't have a sense of urgency and you don't realize how important how important you need to be. Like it is urgent to do this stuff. Like for my mentees that make tens of thousands of dollars a month, they're urgently upgrading their skills and they're urgently being around the right people and they're constantly investing. Like it's the only way to go because the cycle's faster and faster. AI has increased the cycle. So back in 2018, you could have the same skills from 2018 to 2021 and it wouldn't really hurt you so much. Then it was like 2021 to 2023, you needed the same skills. Then 2023 till 2024, you see it's getting smaller and smaller. And then 2025, the skills have changed twice already. 2026, it's going to be like 3 cycles within 1 year of the skills you need. You can't keep up with that as a beginner. 3 cycles in 1 year, you need to be around the right people. That's what I'm working on. That's why I went to Mastermind. I encourage you to join us in Copy Systems. I think it's going to be the best investment you've ever made into your copywriting career, hands down. The amount of stuff that we have in there, you won't be able to finish it within a year. That's how much we have on everything that actually is relevant and actually working right now. See you inside.